Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for subscribing to the channel. I recently hit 1,200 subscribers. I am super excited about that, so thank you so much, and thank you for watching. So let's talk about video game conventions and where I'll be in 2020. I have been going to conventions for a very long time. My first comic book convention was in 1983, the Dallas Fantasy Fair. My first video game convention was 20 years later, 2003 Classic Gaming Expo. Now, retro gaming expos weren't really a thing up until the late 90s and early 2000s. So, I've been going back, almost to the beginning of those, a few years out. But anyway, I've been enjoying video game conventions a very long time. I've met a lot of friends there, and I always have a blast, playing the games, arcade games on free play, console games, tournaments, panels, and all that fun stuff. So let's talk about, real quick, where I will be in 2020. So far, I only have 3 conventions scheduled. I'm sure I will do many more. And but anyway, what I've got scheduled so far is Korgs Con in Columbus, Ohio. That's May 16th. Now, this is an awesome show. This will be my 3rd one in a row, and my 3rd year to do this show. It is excellent. It's just a whole lot of fun. The crowd is just phenomenal. I got a lot of people coming up with books for me to sign and buying books, that they want to get signed. It's a lot of readers in this crowd. This, from a per attendee ratio, I sell more books at this show than any other show, just percentage wise. And I'm going to be joined by Michael Thomason, former Guinness Book World Record holder, for the world's largest video game collection. He's also an author. Leonard Herman, who wrote the very first book on, video game history, he will be there at Korgs Con as a guest. And Warren Davis, the creator of Q*bert, will be there as a guest. And he has a new book on, his life and the creation of Q*bert. So I'll be in competition with several authors, but it's going to be absolutely great. I've become friends with Warren Davis over the last couple of years. As a matter of fact, when he was working on his Q*bert book, he asked for my input and sent me some advanced pages from the book, just wanting opinions and that kind of thing. And I thought that was awesome. And I've discovered that we share a common interest other than video games. We're both rabid cyclists. We love bicycling in different cities around the country. So very cool to meet him and, have gotten to know him over the last couple of years. Really nice guy. Also at the show will be Dan Kitchen and Gary Kitchen. Very prolific, video game programmers through the years for Activision and other companies. And I've become friends with Gary Kitchen, and I've discovered that we have a common interest outside of video games, namely collecting, old paperbacks with cool cover art by Frank Frazetta, Jeff Jones, Boris Vallejo, and those kinds of artists, and science fiction and fantasy novels. I discovered this at Portland Retro Gaming Expo a few years ago when we were talking about Powell's books. So it's going to be great to see Gary, and I met Dan pretty recently at another show. Be great to see him as well. I've been friends with Michael Thomason and Leonard Herman for a very long time, dating back to the old Classic Gaming Expo days in Las Vegas, and so it's going to be great hanging out with friends. Autographing books and doing all that kind of stuff at Korgs Con, May 16th. And then I've got Classic Game Fest coming up July 25th and 26th. Now that's always, every year, that's my biggest show sales-wise. I sell more just, video games and everything in general, just as far as pure sales go of, everything. I mean, I take, PlayStation games, Atari games, NES games, video game related paraphernalia, joysticks, D-pads and all that, not D-pads, NES controllers and all that kind of stuff. So always have a great time at Classic Game Fest. It's always super busy. People are whipping out that plastic, no questions asked. So it's a great sales show. Even better, it's run by my good friend David Kalin, who runs Game Over Video Games, a chain of stores in Austin area, or throughout Texas, and some, and they have Seattle stores as well. So just a great show every year. I've been hanging out with David Kalin. I've known David Kalin since I did as a matter of fact, for well over 10 years now, because my very first book autographing was at a Game Over store, and I believe it was 2007. That was when my first book was published, and that was my first autographing that I ever did. My first public autographing was at a Game Over store in 2007. So that was, just great. And thank you, David, for all the support over the years. His company, Game Over Video Games and Classic Game Fest, have been very supportive of my writing career, and vice versa. I've helped promote their shows as well in their stores, so that's just going to be a great show. I'm not sure who the other guests are going to be at that show yet, but I will probably do a panel there, and so I'm looking forward to it. Last year I did a panel with Jeffrey Wittenhagen about content creation, and that was a lot of fun. And then I've also got the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, aka PRGE, August 14th through the 16th. This is always a fun show because on the 14th, on that Friday, vendors don't have to be at tables yet, so we can just feel free to hang out in the arcades and play games and stuff. So that's always a fun lead up to the show where I just have freedom and can play games without worrying about selling stuff or being, stuck at a table all day. That's always a fun show. Rick Weiss is always gracious enough to ask me out to the show. This has been my 4th year in a row to be at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And this is where I met the Metal Jesus crew, very nice, very cool group of YouTubers. I've become friends with them. I met Chris Kohler at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, Tim Lapatino, fellow authors. And it's just an excellent show every year. It's a huge show, and it's always got a great positive vibe going on. And they really have a respect for history with the old Atari programmers and everything as guests, and with old guys like me who write books about video games as guests. So they have a great appreciation, for video game history, which is just awesome. Now, speaking of panels, I've done panels over the years with quite a few different YouTube personalities, other authors and things. I've done panels with John Riggs, with Kelsey Lewin, with Walter Day, with Norm, the gaming historian Caruso, with John Gamester 81 Lester, and I've just had with Leonard Herman. Just had a great time doing these panels. It's always fun to talk video game history, content creation, and all that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, if you, who are watching this, if you run a video game convention, or you know someone who runs a video game convention and want to put in a good word, give me a shout. You can message me on Facebook or Twitter. Brett Weiss. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and all that kind of good stuff. You can email me at brettw105@sbcglobal.net, and all of my contact information is on my website, brettweisswords.com. You can find links to my Twitter, Facebook, and everything else. So give me a shout if you want me to be a panelist, or just someone there that, just to have a booth and, to do an autographing, to sign books, to sell books, to, meet and greet customers and all this kind of stuff. Anytime I do a show, it's always a great experience because, first of all, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I just love, checking out the vendors floor, and when I get a chance to attend panels, that's always a lot of fun. And also just like to, it's great just meeting people. Several times throughout the years, people come up to the table and say, hey, as a matter of fact, I remember one in particular, this guy who was probably around 19 or 20, he said, hey, your classic home video games books were in my school library when I was in middle school. And this is when I started collecting video games, and it's meant a whole lot to me, and I've had a great time doing it. So that just meant the world to me. It's that kind of thing that makes all the hours I spend writing books worth it. Just beyond the personal. It gives me a lot of personal satisfaction. Just beyond the royalty checks and that kind of stuff. Writing is my job, but it's also a passion, and I really love it, and it's really gratifying. It's also nice when a parent will come up and buy their kid a book that said, my kid loves screens, they love, YouTube and Facebook, or, with younger ones, it's more like Snapchat or Instagram or whatever, and they love Minecraft or Fortnite, a lot of Fortnite. They love all this kind of stuff. They love video games and, being on the computer or whatever. And they don't read enough. So a lot of times parents will buy a book or two for, their kids. Just to maybe get them to read a little more, and I've had some great feedback from that as well. And anyway, so there's a lot of reasons I love doing conventions, and I hope to do more this summer. So far, like I said, I've got 3 planned. Korgs Con, May 16th, Classic Game Fest in Austin, July 25th through the 26th, Portland Retro Gaming Expo, August 14th through 16th. But I would love to do more, and like I said, if you guys just want to give me a shout, if you run a video game convention, give me an email at brettw sbcglobal.net. And if you want more information, if you want my credentials, if you want to know what panel I can do or anything else at all, just, just ask. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Again, I just recently hit 1,200 subscribers. I really appreciate it. I've been writing for a very, very long time, but I'm pretty new to YouTube, so just growing so quickly, I owe it to you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who shares these videos, who shares, my posts on social media. I really, really appreciate it. And again, thank you for watching. Be sure and hit that subscribe button. Please like this video if you liked it. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. We will talk to you later, and I hope to see you at a convention sometime in your town this summer. Talk to you later.